We just got done with another great interview with PGA Tour coach Drew Steckel, PGA and LPGA coach. Drew is, again, another great interview here. We talked about all his different patterns that he works with all the different players, like a Kevin Na, Jason Kokrak, Pat Perez, to name a few of his players. He is more than just a swing coach, though, as you're going to find out in this episode. Coaching the entire player with all different aspects of the game to make a champion is what Drew's about. Hope you enjoy this episode of JRL Golf Academy.
Let's start with this, dude.
Okay.
Where are you teaching out of?
I am
when you're not on the road.
I'm at Southern Highlands in Vegas.
Oh, okay. Southern Highlands. How long you been there?
About 2 years, 3 years now.
Okay.
So before that, I was in Valencia, but I never really was home. So
yeah,
I would kind of just go out to like Lakeside or TBC Valencia, and I never really was there. I was traveling so much. So now I'm back in Vegas. I moved here, got a house here. So now I actually have a house and have a car. Like for a while, I didn't even have a car. I would just rent cars every week because I traveled so much.
Yeah, I know, dude. It's crazy seeing you out on the road now, as much as you are.
It was a lot. Back in the day, it was like 35 weeks a year minimum.
God dang, dude.
Yeah, like 35 tournaments. And I would stay 7 days. So it wasn't like I was doing the Monday through Wednesday or something. I was there every day, all day.
Oh, so you were doing the traveling gypsy deal.
Mm-hmm. Every tournament, every week, it was like walking 18 holes a day with somebody or whatever. So it was a lot of PGA Tour golf.
Yeah. I gotcha. Well, let's get it started here. Well,
okay.
Let me get started here. People are starting to come in here. I've got a PGA Tour stud coach, and also one of my favorites to just listen to because you're living the life of a young PGA Tour coach on tour right now, Mr. Drew Steckel. Thanks for coming on the show, bud.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on it.
Oh, man, dude. I want to get this out of the way real quick. Aiden, one of your buddies.
Yep.
A little junior. Want to give him a shout out. I know that he's excited to be watching you.
He's a good player. That kid, he's grinding every day. I talked to him 2 days ago, and he's out there like hitting balls in his backyard, and he's full on grinding. Just every day
he's doing
balls. Mm-hmm.
He's doing it.
He loves it.
So let's get a little context and let's get a little bit of background. You came from the Northeast originally?
So my family's all in the Midwest.
Or Midwest, okay.
Yeah, so they're all Midwest. My family's in Chicago. I grew up mostly in the Midwest. I moved to California in high school. So I was out in Valencia, and it's funny, like me and Gore went to the same high school, and I graduated from, like, obviously. But so I went there, got really into golf, like senior year of high school, and then I was going to golf schools in Florida, and then I ended up living down in Orlando for 8 years.
Okay.
In Florida. So I was doing working with Mike Bender, his assistants, these people. I was kind of doing the Florida, where everybody goes to get good at golf. And I played mini tours and all that and just wasn't good enough. No chance. But from there, I went and got into Mac and then got into Mac schools. So that's how that all happened.
What year would that have been?
That would have been about 2012, 13.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. So it was about 2012, 2013, I got in with Mac. And I kind of went into that rabbit hole as far as how that goes. And you know how that goes. So you kind of get in that whatever. So you kind of disappear from the grid and whatever. And you can't talk to people. And you're like a secret society. And you can't share information. You can't do Instagram Live. You can't even have an Instagram. Or you could. It wasn't even there back then. But so I was in there. And then I got one of Mike Bender's teachers started playing on the Korn Ferry Tour, or web.com back then. And
who's that?
He knew Elliot Gailey. So he was played at Clemson. He was in his mid-30s. He was starting to play again. And then he called me up and was getting back on the tour. So I just started working with him. And it was funny, like I used to work with him, and then I went to Mac, and then he asked me to help him. And then I started going out when I was about 23, and now I'm 33. So it was a long time ago. Just going to web events, and I was just excited to go spend time at a tour event. Like it doesn't matter what it was. I just enjoyed the coaching part of it. And then that's when I really knew that, like, okay, I'm going to start doing it full time. This is what I want to do.
So how much of your experience would you say from playing is helping you with coaching players? I mean, in a way, I was a player as well, but like we sort of have a soft spot, right? We kind of understand when it's real difficult for them, right? How much does that play into your teachings?
It's fun. It's really fun to go through the part of, you know what it feels like to go like play bad in a tournament. And you're just like, how am I going to beat these guys? Or what? You kind of learn from that hard, like the hard part about playing, is like there's so many good players and it's so discouraging. So you have a little more empathy, or you have a little more understanding of it. And you can kind of see what they're thinking and feeling. And there's so many options as coaches and information. It's hard to like, as a player, you're like, well, this and that and that, and you can search and you can go through everything. So it's hard to, as a player, you know how it is. You're like, I got to find that magic formula or that magic information or whatever is going to be like my secret thing. And it's like that on the PGA Tour. Some of them are like that, others are not. But it's good to have that experience and go through it and know what it's like to hit balls for 7 hours a day and be like, what?
Yeah.
So.
And so let's talk about, can you name some of the guys that you're working with? I obviously know, but just go ahead. We'll get a little flex on.
So this year I've got Pat Perez, Jason Kokrak, Chesson Hadley, Kevin Na, Anirban Lahiri, and Doug Gim. And Korn Ferry, I've got a couple guys, John Oda, Brett Druitt, and then Anna Nordquist and Nyan Choi, and Shintaro.
How do you deal with that many players? Like, how do you organize all that, dude?
You got to have good time management, especially at a PGA Tour event. You've got to like block out schedules and say, all right, guys, if I can get them all play together, it's nice. They obviously all don't. So you get kind of sit there and you don't, like the PGA Tour stuff's hard because everybody's on their own schedule. So you got to go like, all right, I got to run here and do this and this. So I'll do 9 holes Monday through Wednesday with each guy. And then I'll try to get them around each other. And then the LPGA girls, like Anna will come up all the time. Nyan lives in Vegas, so she comes out all the time. And then Oda, a lot of the Korn Ferry guys like Oda and Shin and those guys are all here. So whenever I'm home, I'll see them.
Okay, so I gotcha. So you get some time in with them off the road. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like when I was seeing you, back here in Valencia and stuff. Like I'd always see you working with somebody, and it was on sort of on your time at home. So not much has changed, huh?
No, I prefer to teach at home. If you get away from everybody, that's the thing. I like to get away from everybody and do it where I'm not at a PGA Tour range. Like everybody thinks, I did a podcast with Shaheen a couple weeks ago, and he's like, I said, the thing with the PGA Tour range is like, there's so many things going on. It's just all flash. Like that stuff's cool, and people think that's cool, and they watch Golf Channel, and that's great, but you're really not on a Wednesday redoing somebody's golf swing that much. You're kind of just there for support, but you're helping and this and that. But I like to get away from tournaments because you don't want everybody around and distractions and people around and talking stuff. Like if you get it away from people like Pat, I'll always go to Scottsdale and get Pat before a tournament or work on stuff. So
tell me this, any hero stories that you have for yourself where, on Wednesday afternoon after they play a practice round or a pro-am, they're like, dude, I am lost. And you go this, and then X happens. Any of those? I'm sure there are.
There's a few. I had a few back when I worked with Danny Lee back in the day. I think he got done. This is probably one of them where like he couldn't hit a green with a wedge, basically. Like it was terrible. And it was a pro-am. Right. He's afternoon pro-am. He gets off the pro-am at like 9 holes, and I'm like, it's dark, and we got to tee off in the morning, and I'm like, all right, And I'm asking him questions like this and this, and he's got no idea, right? I'm like, okay, I look at his caddy, Kurt, and I'm like, we got to do this. I got to figure something right now. So I'm like, okay, just do this, move the ball position here, set up here, do that, hit it. Shoots like 67, 6 the first day, and he finished 4th or something that week or whatever. So that was probably one of them. We've had a few of those. I've had a few with Pat. I wish Pat was in here to join so we could get him on that, but we've had a couple of those.
We'd love to get Pat in here.
I'd love to get him on here.
He's a character.
He's doing yard work right now. He's working at his house. He's like, Pat's he's not worried about golf right now. Neither is Kevin.
Let's talk Kevin neither.
No.
I like following Kevin, man. You know, both those guys, I like following them on the gram. So you talking about like Danny Lee and stuff like that. Who else? I mean, you ever had any of those issues with like Pat or Kevin or stuff like that? Where it's just, you know, and is that a built-in trust to be able, obviously, to be able to, you know, like, okay, coach just said on Wednesday afternoon, we're calling an audible.
You know, like, I forget, another good example would be Kevin. So, like, he played the PGA last year at, where was it? Bethpage, right? Okay. Which is a terrible golf course for him. And like, nobody's going to, like, if you didn't hit it far, you had no chance, right? So he missed the cut. We get to Colonial the next week, and it's, I think, Monday afternoon. And I'm like, okay, because it was awful. Like, he's like, I'm hitting it awful. So I'm like, just get your pressure points. Get a glove under your left arm. Get a little deeper. Let's just see how this goes today. So he goes out, you know, hits it good in the front, you know, hits it good for the 3 days. We're like, okay, we're back to square one. So we just kind of go through, and something as simple as whatever, putting a glove or working on the left arm pressure points there, and he wins. You know, he wins by 5. But the thing with those guys is they're so good, you can give them little things, and as soon as you get a spark of confidence with them, they just go. Once they get a feel and they know, they're such good players at that level.
Yeah.
You kind of, you know, like, you know how it is. When you teach people that are just developing into golf, they're so talented at golf at that level. You can give them some stuff, and then boom, they just kind of, okay, got it.
And would you say that a lot of the times when you do find success with a player or something, is it usually something kind of small to them, and they just, like you said, they latch onto it? It's like a magnet. Yeah,
you save the big changes, like, you know, like right now. If you have 2 months off, that's when you can really get into it and say, okay, let's try to turn your hips more. Let's work on your right leg, or let's do. When you're at a Monday or a Tuesday at a tournament, it's hard to sit there and go, all right, we're going to reinvent your left wrist, or we're going to change your wrist positions, your wrist angles, or that. So if it's really bad, you can definitely do it, because you probably can't make it worse. But at a tournament versus off season, and you also have to be careful. This is my opinion, is the communication levels with them. Some guys like information, and some guys don't want to know what the right wrist bend is at P5.5, or you got to be careful. See, some guys are like, because I'll sit there and I'm looking at it like you do, and I'll use like P1 to P10. So I'll sit there and say, keep your left arm in 10 degrees at P5, and no one's going to understand that.
Or you could be like our boy Scotty Hamilton says that, I don't even know the P's. There might be like 28 of them in my swing.
And and that's how he is. He's really good at that. Like Hamilton, I hang out with him all the time, and he's just, you know, he'll just give him this stuff, and he doesn't have to have like exact terms on what it is, you know, like it doesn't need to be like, you're like me, where like the Mac influence is like, well, how much, how many degrees, how much. So we're taking questions, Oda. Let's take a question. I see Oda on there.
Yeah, let's take a question here.
Let's take one.
We got some questions in here. Let's go. Leftgen said, how often do tour players actually lose their swing?
A lot.
Unless they're working with Drew.
No, it doesn't matter. It could be anybody. It doesn't even matter. It's like, I don't know. They do. They go through spurts. Sometimes it's like, I striped it for a month, or you can't miss a shot. So sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. Like, it's hard to really. They go through phases of really playing well. Like, I would say the biggest difference is there's like 10 guys in the world, and they're 1 through 10 world ranking. Those guys are really good. Like, they don't really ever hit it bad.
Yeah.
Most guys don't hit it like Rory McIlroy does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
like, and even DJ. It's like some of those guys you watch, and some weeks they have it, some weeks they don't.
That's like every time I go watch them, especially when they come out here to Rib and stuff like that. Exactly to your point, what you're saying about Rory and DJ, it's just not that far off. I mean, they're bombing at 3:30, and they're still in the tree lines all day. You know what I mean? They're not out sideways, and they're just. It looks easy. It looks easy. Golf and turf too. Did Matt come up with the P system? I know the answer to that. Do you?
Yes.
No, he didn't.
He says he does. I don't know who did.
Came up with it?
Homer Kelly?
Dr. Robert Bush.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Was that his guy that he was with? Yeah.
Yes.
That was his guy.
I started working with him recently
really?
on anatomy stuff. Yeah, he's really rad, dude. If you want to come out, let me know.
I don't know. Like Mac says a lot of stories of who he was with and McCord and that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it changes. Yeah. No, but Dr. Bush, I got to spend time with him in November, and he just going over anatomy stuff, and it was pretty cool. Let's see here. Who else we got? Yes, Matt coined the positions. Actually, he didn't. There, pin hunting. It was Dr. Bush.
Well, that's good to know. I'm glad to know that.
Yeah. D-Rock in the tight fade from Jake Thurm. Yep. Brian, with all the travel
last week.
You're lucky, dude. I can't find anybody out here. They're all closed.
It was hard. I was about to shave it I ordered stuff from Amazon. I was like, I'm just gonna go no attachment, done. But then I
think I'm gonna be doing that, dog. Because I don't know.
I found someone. I found a barber. I was like, you're coming. I gotta get this done.
All right, I might escape quarantine and go over to Vegas. With all the travel, how do they do upkeep with swing and body? From Brian Pate Golf.
A lot of guys have physios. So PGA Tour guys, a lot of them have the truck. So a lot of guys will use they'll use the truck and they'll get their body worked on. And then some guys have their own personal guy. Like each guy, some of them has somebody to do soft tissue, chiro, all that kind of stuff. And they do it every day before they hit balls and every day after. So they get well taken care of.
It's not hard.
No, they get whatever they want.
All right, Matt's got here. Trying to shallow on the downswing with stick and ground. Is this the best way of doing it, especially now only hitting into a net? So everybody, that's kind of a hot thing, right? Everybody's always like, how do I shallow? What's one of your kind of go-to to shallows?
When I have to do it, I get John Oda over there, my coach. John Oda is the guy that has to go over there and film my swing to do it because I have to try to shallow it a lot because I get steep. And Mac taught me a big CP cut pattern, so I've got that in there.
Okay.
So I'm super steep and across it with everything. So I would say there's certain ways, but my thing with it is I like to get the backswing lined up, and if you get the backswing at 4, so if you get P4 pretty good, I think things fall into place easier.
Okay.
I'm not a guy that I can't really manipulate it very much because I can't feel it.
Yeah.
The last couple of days, I've been trying to hit balls with my right hand all the way on the side, like kind of like a Scott Cox does. Like his drills where he puts
the hell hand. Drill.
I love doing that. That's one of my favorites.
Drill. Yeah.
I like that feel for me because it takes my right arm out of it and the torque of, kind of getting this way with it. So
yeah.
I know that has
what are your? I'm glad you said that. What are some of your alignments for people that don't know you? Let's talk about your alignment, and let's talk about if I got my baseline here, Drew.
Okay.
All right.
Let's see.
What are the alignments? I don't know. Can you see me in there? Let me lower this a touch. And I'm gonna look lefty, but let's just talk about like the butt of the club at 4.
Yep.
So I've got my. Most people probably can see my little orange stick there.
Yep.
So what's your alignment that you like at P4 that you're always kind of looking for? Let's say with the butt of the club or something.
I like it right at the ball, like you're at right there. Like I like that where because for me, I cross it a lot and I get my elbow funky. Yeah, I get crossy and I get open and I get that way. So as soon as that, and then I'm a big opener, so I can shift out at 5 from there, and I don't have the time to try to get it in. So I'm dead. So I like it. Like you do this drill a lot too, where you put the stick in the butt of the club
Yeah.
and really work on tracing the baseline like that.
Yeah. So something like this, guys.
Yep.
This is. There we go.
Perfect. There we go. Yep. Yeah. I love doing that drill. And especially like right now when you're at home, you can get in a mirror and just work on that over and over and over and over again.
Yep.
It's like Mac always used to keep saying, there is no right or wrong. You just need to understand if you pre-position yourself in certain spots, it's going to make things easier. Like the geometry has to match to be not compensate, or to, you don't want to have to rely on the timing of that stuff.
Amen to that. Amen to that. So that would be, with that position there at 4 that we were doing there, would that be sort of your just neutral position? Or how would you change that if you were, say, somebody that, I mean, obviously tour players, they have a ball preference, right? A curvature.
Yep.
So how would you change would you change any of that if you like had a guy that wanted to cut the ball versus draw the ball? Or would you still kind of use it?
I would go into their elbow positioning, and then I'd go into their wrist. So I depending on their grip, I'd start with how do they grip it? Then I would go to, like, I'll use Pat as an example. So,
perfect. What does he like to do? What does he like to do?
Pat wants to hit draws. If Pat wants to hit a 20-yard push draw, he can on the range. And then he goes out and plays straight. He'll hit it straight because he was always down and across and cut it a lot.
Yeah.
So he was always steep down across. So for him, he was always really open, and he got rolling the face wide open, and then he would steepen it. So for him, he started feeling his lead wrist really flat, and he's always kind of had that short backswing after he had a surgery on his shoulder, right? Everybody was like, well, Pat swings short in this. I'm like, well, the guy didn't know if he was going to play golf. So we had to make adjustments to not hurt his body at 43. So he's not going to look like Adam Scott at the top. So when people were like, oh, Pat's swing looks like, I'm like, well, do you think he's going to get his elbows like this and cross it? No, it's not going to happen. And we've tried it, and we'll do it, and he can do it, and it's fine at home or whatever, but he'll go into a tournament, and he's got no idea where the face is at.
No chance he's going there.
No chance. Like Kevin likes to get it a little more cross-ish in his elbow positions because Kevin kind of had that laid-off open look to steep.
Okay.
So Kevin works on a little bit more on depth early, deeper at 4, and a little bit of different elbow positioning.
So he gets deeper for Kevin because you're trying to get some more depth so that when it does come out, it's not too out.
Exactly. It's just basically giving yourself a cushion. So it's not the end of the world if it has a shift out, but if you have room to actually feel that way, you can get it more parallel to, but the worst thing for him is, I would say the thing with guys that tilt back a lot or stand up a lot, you don't want them to have it feel behind them. So they don't like going like up to or back, because if they stand up at all or they start going right, then it's open face blocks.
Yeah. So now they're off the golf course. Hey, that's really cool. And I do want to get into that with you. Some of your, I mean, I know I got a lot of golf teachers in here and stuff like that are all kind of geeking out right now because they're hearing from the horse's mouth about some of this stuff. What do you like in terms of, what are some of your preferences? Here's one that I admire the most about you, Drew, is that I see all your players and they all look different. You know what I mean? There's not a cookie cutter motion in there at all. But what are the similarities that you do have in them that maybe we don't all see?
I would say the thing with them is, depending on what how their body's moving, I don't really have a preference, because some guys are like, as general as the statement may be, is like they're arm swingers, or what, like generalized, they have different feels with what they do. Like some guys, I don't try to change their DNA of golf, because at that level, it's not like you're working with a kid who's 12 and you sit there and say, okay, we got this, right? Like if I had a kid for 10 years and I could build in whatever it is. But the first thing, and this is my thing, is it's like, before you look at swings online and all that stuff, it's like, what shot are you trying to hit? Like before people post swings and ask this question, like you see all these swings on Instagram, that's cool and that's great and everybody's got this stuff, but the first thing should be, what shot are you hitting? What do you want to hit?
Yeah.
Like if you want to hit push draws, you should do this. Like don't get caught up in going, it has to look this way. Like it,
Yeah.
how do you want to play? Well, do you want to
Yeah.
play golf swing or do you want to play golf? Like
Yeah.
it's at that level, like they don't care. Like Pat Perez does not care what his swing looks like on video if he goes out and he wins a golf tournament. I promise you. None of them do. No one cares. Like,
Yeah.
they don't.
That's the thing. They really don't. As a player, I didn't care what it looked like as long as the thing it came out of the window that they're looking for, right? It comes out and the shape looks right. You know what I mean? And if it comes out the correct window and it's the right shape, then they can sleep at night. Because if it's not, they're not sleeping at night.
No, you're sitting there filming your swing all day. You know, like if you can get caught up in thinking a perfect golf swing or whatever it is going to be the answer to you playing good golf, and couldn't be further from the truth. Like there's a lot of guys on the PGA Tour that get it done different ways, or any tour, and it just kind of, yes, do you want to work towards things and understand it? And you know, like, well, I would use this as an example: is you've got to know what to do when it's bad. If you have nowhere to go, as far as like, okay, you're at the cliff and you're about to fall off the cliff, we got to make sure we have a system to figure out where to go from there.
I'm so glad you said that, because, you know, the common theme amongst the best coaches like yourself is they all have some sort of system. You know what I mean? Like, and the system has to be that if I do this, this should happen, correct?
Absolutely. And that's the thing, is it's having and that's how you gain confidence. Like guys that know what they're doing are confident with it because they have like the worst feeling in golf is not knowing what to do or how to fix it. Like hitting a shot and going, I don't know where that went and how I did that. So what do I do? And then you go out and then you're just trying to control your bleeding as far as where's your bad.
So let me ask, and let's talk about that, because you do have a system, not only in the mechanics, which I'm really interested in, but also you seem to have a system of like how you spokes on a wheel, right? There's different aspects that you have to be good at in the game, and not only your technique, but also it could be your mental, it could be your home life, it could be, you know, I know that you did to me, and I didn't get to speak to you about it, but like Danny Lee at the time, you worked on his more, it seemed to me, like off the course than on the course things, like trying to find him a hobby.
Yeah, we did. I mean, and I got him around Pat and all. Like the thing is, I got him around different people, and he was such a golf person all the time, and Danny was just golf, golf, golf. That's all he knew. And then we changed things, and we did it over. I mean, I worked with him for I think 4 years or something, 3 or 4 years off and on or whatever it was, and he just needed to mature as a person and just grow out of, okay, when I leave the golf course, do I have something else? Like golf, what you shoot every day and your score does not reflect you as a person. So as a golfer, you identify yourself like, oh, my score's on the internet and I can see a score on PGA. Everybody knows I'm in last place and I missed the cut.
Yeah.
No one's going to remember that the next day. Next week,
Correct.
Somebody's going to go, okay, it's a new tournament. It's over. So it doesn't, people sit there and think like, I'm judged as who I am. No, you can miss 3 cuts in a row and win, or 4 cuts in a row, whatever it is. You can't go through that. And it works like that, everything in life. So if I have that belief, like nothing's always going to be easy. And if you judge yourself what people think of you with that and worry about how I look or what I'm doing or what people think of me and this and that. And on the PGA Tour, or any tour, it's easy. You know, you can get consumed with looking around, worried about people, and that's not how you do it.
I think I could have had you. I mean, everybody knows, it seems to know you as like a swing mechanic, but I probably could have had you on the show as more as a mental coach, because you're more, I mean, you're saying like 4 years ago you worked in, you were 30 years old then, dude. You've got a pretty wise head on those shoulders, man. I mean, where does that come from? About, you know, you got some wisdom in there already, dude.
I don't know. I just got around golf all the time. I don't know. It just, as a coach, I don't know. You get it. As a coach, you care more about other people than yourselves as far as like your students.
Amen.
So you know how it is. Like you're more worried about other people. So that's kind of how it's, you just kind of get consumed with helping people and wanting people to succeed. And, you know, I think if you have the right mindset and just treat people the right way, and you treat people like you would treat your own kids or your own family, or see how people are doing other than golf or anything like that, that's more gratifying than it is than being whatever, a teacher or this or notoriety. That's cool and that's great. But as far as like, if you know deep down you've helped somebody, whether it's through golf or not golf or a lesson you taught and you didn't even, it's fun to do.
Dude, I get you so much there, bro, because I told somebody that I was doing a podcast with there, and that's, if I wasn't a golf teacher, I'd be doing something else to help somebody else out. You know what I mean? In some other avenue. And I get what you're saying there. There's a bunch of golf coaches in here.
Yeah.
With what Drew just said, give me a thumbs up if a student has kept you up at night because you're worried about them. Because I guarantee you, Drew has lost many nights of sleep worrying about other players.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, that's
yes.
when you know
yes.
you're in it, man.
I'll give you a good example. I wish Gore was on here right now. So Gore, me and him were staying together. Remember when he finished second at Wyndham to keep his card?
Yeah.
And Tiger was in the mix, right? So Tiger's in the mix.
Yeah.
Davis Love won. So me and Gore are at the Hyatt Place in Greensboro, and we're staying in the room together, and he's got to finish solo second to keep his card, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I literally didn't sleep the whole night. He woke up the next morning, and he was fine, and I literally we were on the range, and I was that was the most nervous I was. And I turned my phone off during the round. He made an eagle on like 14 or something, and I was like, I couldn't even take it at that night because I couldn't even sleep. I'm in the same room with him on my computer, just sitting there, and he's laying in his bed, like snoring, and I'm like, he woke up the next morning. I'm like, I'm glad you slept, and I was quiet.
That's it right there. I mean, that's caring about somebody more than yourself, and that's the common theme I see with all the guests I've had on here, all the great coaches. That's the common theme, right? Like it's caring about somebody more than yourself. In this little silly game that we play of golf, right? But it's at the bare bones minimum, at the smallest molecular level, it's just caring about somebody else. We just want them to improve.
That's the thing. And I did the podcast last week, and Shaheem was like, were you nervous on the range and this and that, your first major or the Masters? I said, as a coach, no one's there to watch me. And if they are, I mean, maybe a coach or someone who knows golf or whatever, but I said, no one's watching me on the range. I'm not going on the range with anybody looking. They're watching these guys. Like, if you have that mindset as a coach, then you're not going to succeed. Like, no one's there to watch me film a swing and talk to my player. They're there for the player. They are the star. They're the person who does it. Yeah. And I'm just sitting there going, okay, here you go.
Brian, this is the one we can both answer. Brian Pitt Golf asked, how long did you last on the MAC team before getting kicked out?
About a year and a half, I think. I got kicked out because of camera angles. We got in an argument at TPC Valencia over camera angles. I wish he was on this. Yeah. He films, I don't know. We've had many debates over it, but I was doing schools with him and all this stuff, and he, if you get a camera angle off, at all, you're out. You're done. He would get mad, and then he would say I didn't listen or didn't whatever. And then someone was saying, he played a Monday last year, and he was talking about me and this. I'm like, oh, whatever. He's I didn't pay attention or that. I'm like, I talk to that guy on the phone every night for 2 hours a day. It would call you, and you sit by your phone waiting he's going to call, and if I don't pick up this call, I'm out. I'm done.
That's the way it is, man. You walk on eggshells. I lasted about a year and a half, somewhere in there. Yeah, I got kicked out guilty by association with a friend of mine that threw a golf school, and I wasn't even part of it.
Really? Yeah. And it was just because you're friends with him. Yeah.
Yeah. I was, because we were both in, and then my friend calls me, and Matt called me to get his number. He goes, what's his number? I'm like, I couldn't play it off, right, because we're friends. And then next thing, my friend calls me about an hour later. He goes, well, I guess we're out.
Right.
I mean, we're
all
I
out.
wasn't even in the state. Yeah.
It just depends on his mood that day. I mean,
it really does. It really does. The guy's a genius. He is, but yeah.
He's smart.
He's pretty smart. He's pretty smart about the golf stuff. Jay Oda asks, how do you steepen the shaft from 4 to 6?
Are
you working on that with him?
I'll put that on there for you. I can do it for you all you want. I'll get you a nice swing. I'm going to get you a swing in about an hour here with a driver that's steep and awful.
Let's see. Here it is, pin hunting. I heard JT say he hits 98 out of 100 wedge shots with a cutoff finish. Is that specific to him, or would you say most guys on tour don't have full wedge distances?
Is this Justin Thomas?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like a JT, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking the other one. Yeah, I would say that. A lot of guys like the long arc. You teach this a lot with your students, it's just an easy, simple way. That's how I do it. I like hitting wedges that way because I like little flighted draws, and I mean, Pat does it a lot. Some guys are different. Like Kokrak doesn't hit his wedges like that. Kevin Na doesn't. Kevin Na hits his wedges pretty high, I would say.
Does he?
Kevin's a high launch wedge guy, yeah.
Really?
He hit the best shot I've ever seen on number 10 at Riv. That pin on the front on a Sunday 2 years ago when he was I think he was tied for the lead. He hit one that even Tony Finau said to him, he's like, I don't know how you did that, because he held it right. You know how that pin's right on that down slope, and he just hit it, and it just came down and released a foot. But
Kev's not a big spinner of the ball, would you say? Like
he, not really. I wouldn't say he's like a really super high spin wedge player or anything. He kind of just does trajectory, and Kevin shapes it really well. Kevin's really, really good with his irons at hitting shots. Like Kevin's hands are amazing. I watch Kevin ship, and I'm like, what? He'll ask me questions on shipping, and I'm like, what? No. Like,
just
okay,
do what you do, man.
I'll film it and I'll show you, and you can go through it. Like, you have one of the best short games in the history of the PGA Tour, dude. Like, your short game's good.
Yeah, let's just keep doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
What specific things did you work on with Kevin? Because you've been working with him, gosh, what is it now? How long has that been?
I think a couple, almost 3 years, 2 years or so. Kevin,
to your credit, guys that come to you, they get better, you know?
I try. I mean, I definitely try. He had the neck tilt stuff going. He had the tilt right, the excessive, sideways head, right shoulder falling through. So he always had that one shot that he hated, and then he never really knew. Like, I'll just use the terms. From P4 to P, like 4 to 5, from top of backswing halfway down, he would shift out. So he would steepen it. Then he would slide a ton, and he would get the neck tilts back to get it in, and then he would leave it open and block it. So I got him feeling the left arm really in and deep, and the hands differently. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
So he could actually kind of shift out shallow and then stay in his tilts, right? Because he's never going to look like, on top of it, or like no tilt right, and he's always going to have the hips up and that way, right? So
yeah,
we just kind of worked on that, and then he hits pretty good sized draws on the range, and then he goes out and just hits it straight.
Yeah. That's what I've seen when I watch him play. There's not much curve on it, really.
No, he doesn't, and he's a really good iron player, and he's always been. So we just kind of worked on like drivers and stuff like that, and he hits it adequately enough to get on the greens, and he's going to make putts, obviously, because everybody watches him, and I'm like, you just get him, going, and he's confident. Like when his confidence is on, he's a grinder. He's a grinder.
Yeah, I'd say he's sort of not as short as him, but he's kind of like a modern day Corey Pavin in some ways,
He's creative. He's really creative. Yeah.
Very. What about Jason Kokrak? I mean, there's a guy. Is he the longest player you work with, or?
Yeah.
What do you do with that pattern? I mean, here you got a bomber.
So he was. Let's start. Well, when I started with him, he would go. You know how he takes it outside and vertical.
Yeah.
Right? So he's out, drags, up, loop back in.
Yep.
So we cleaned up his legs because he would kind of get the left knee sagging and sliding, and the loop would just get too much. So he would get too into out and too shallow, and then he would kind of get his left shoulder at 7 and 8 up and right, and then he would have to try to curve it back. So we kind of just quieted the legs a little bit because he's not trying to hit it any further. So he's not.
You're right.
So you're not worried about like, okay, we got to create speed. We're not.
Got to max everything out.
No. Yeah. So we cleaned up all that stuff, and last year he hit his irons and he was had awesome stats last year, and he was really consistent because he became a really good iron player. So he was like 8th approach to the green for the year and 12th off the tee or whatever. So
Ooh,
yeah, he was good. Yeah, and if he putts well or chips well, he's gold. So, and he's not a guy that likes a lot of information. So he wasn't like the guy that wanted a rebuild. I don't know. Like, I think people get the assumption that like tour players come to you and it's like,
yeah,
rebuild. No, we are going to slowly do it because they come to you during tournament season. So you have to do it during a tournament, and you can't reinvent the wheel for a 3-month stretch as they're playing the West Coast swing.
It's never like a perfect time when they come to you, is it either?
No, they're not coming. People aren't calling you that no one's calling you that's playing well.
good.
Yeah, no one's like,
exactly.
Rory McIlroy's not calling swing coaches right now going, hey, can you guys help me hit the driver a little better? That's a misconception, you know, like
big time.
Yeah.
Big time. And that's the thing that's so great about you. I mean, I see the guys that go to you and I see these changes, and like I said, they come out the other end and you can start seeing the trend change, you know, with their finishes and stuff like that. It's pretty amazing what you do, Drew. Anthem here says, what's the one training aid you see most on tour?
I would probably
smart balls or hanger.
Yeah, smart balls up there for sure. And I'd say a lot of guys use the smart ball is on the kick right now, the elbow spacing and all that stuff, which is funny because I used to do this stuff with Gore back in the day with like balloons, and like 7 years ago, we'd put a balloon in his hand. Like he'd be on the range with a balloon and this and that, and just try to keep the elbows tighter for him because he always got it this way. And a lot of guys, I would say, like, I like the Tommy Fleetwood stuff, like when he uses those alignment sticks. And
okay, yeah,
he's very good. Like
perfect
Tommy
angle.
Fleetwood's. Yep, I like that because he kind of works on the same stuff every week. You watch him, and he's always on the range with the same routine.
Yeah. That's a good one. That was a good question.
Yeah, great
probably
question.
some putting training aids. What do you see a lot?
There's not a lot of guys, like I've had a few times with Pat on training aids, and he's not a. That doesn't go over well. He'll give it one. He'll give it one. It's like, no. I give him the hanger, and I'm like, Pat, hit like 4 balls with it. Nope,
done.
No, that didn't work. That's gone. He's got it at home though. He'll sit at home in his mirror and do it, but on the range, he's like, no, don't give me that. No.
Yeah. I know Stads, I'll give him something like that every now and again, and he's all like, I feel like an idiot. I'm like, well, then do it in your house.
Just do it in the mirror. Yeah, do it at home.
Yeah. They're so self-conscious about that. Let's see here. Let's see here. There's more. There's a ton here. Yeah, somebody says, Aiden, your little buddy there goes, more than a swing coach. Yeah, I'd agree. Mike Bowe, how do you deal with players when they are missing successive cuts? That's a great question.
Well, you are going to find something. First off, I probably would watch them play, so I'll see what's going on.
Okay. Try to get some facts.
Try to go over it with them and go through their stats, right? Because it's on your phone. So the luxury you have on the PGA Tour is literally everything's in front of you. So you can kind of go, okay, well, you missed every putt inside 5 feet and you did whatever. So you're going to go through the stats and then you watch them, see what their mood is, see how they're emotionally responding to it, because they're going to be mad, right? Every Friday, there's a lot of people leaving the locker room mad. And then you just kind of go through it and go, okay, well, we have to really do something. Whatever we're doing is probably not working, so we got to change something. So we're going to change this. Yeah. We're going to change. And getting their mindset to building their confidence. You as a teacher out there, you're protecting people's confidences because you don't want to build their ego. You don't want to just tell them they're pretty or this or that. You're not just giving. You have to actually give them the confidence. And that's what you do is you're trying to get the player. The player's got to believe it to do it. So you're going to get the player to believe in what they're doing in themselves, and then that's how you get their back. Versus a guy that's, you're just trying to tell him like, okay, your swing's good on video. I don't know how you're playing bad. Well, that's great. It doesn't matter what your swing looks like on video. If you can't do it and you're not playing well, what are we doing here?
Right. That's a huge nugget there, guys, about like coaching the player in front of you, right?
you have to observe. It's more observation of their mood, their demeanor, what's going on, their psyche. Like some guys miss cuts and feel good. Like you can miss a cut and say, I hit it good. Pat did that at Bay Hill this year. He's like, I've never hit it that good at Bay Hill, and he missed the cut by 4. And he walks off on Friday, and he's like, I've never hit the shots I've hit. I love it. I hit a draw on number whatever. I hit it there. I've done this. Like that's the misconception with people is they think it's no, that you can gain confidence from not getting the result you want. You don't have to play amazing in top 5 to be, because sometimes you can play good and you can feel like you're getting away with it.
Did he play pretty well right after that, after Bay Hill?
He played Players on Thursday and he hit it very well. He was he missed the cut at Bay Hill and he went to Sawgrass and he came out on. He had good Monday through Wednesday, played well. Went out Thursday morning. I think he shot 300 or 400 somewhere in there. He played great. But he's been on tour for so long. He knows if he's hitting these shots that I want to do this and I can do
right
it
around the corner.
Yeah, he's like I'm not gonna freak out and go I can't hit a ball.
Yeah. Players know. Even though like you were saying there, they know when it's coming together. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Yeah, there's a bunch of big thumbs up there after we're talking about losing sleep with players. Let's see here. Bob Laskin said, Drew is fantastic at waiting for the right moment to deliver the correct fix to Danny Lee at Riv. Jake Thurm, amateurs 3 days total. What's the best?
Bobby Laskin knows a lot about Mac. Bobby's great.
Yeah. Mike Bowe asked, what's your best Mac story? God, we could be here for years.
I think the time when he said, we're in Palm Springs and we were hitting balls somewhere and he goes, we're going to go play a practice round. I'm going to go play a practice round in somewhere like Goose Creek in the Inland Empire. So it's like an hour and 20-minute drive from Palm Springs. And he's like, just follow me on the 10. And he's in his car and he's got his old blue car, like he's got his hot rod blue car. Yep. So he's like, we're leaving the golf course and this guy is doing 110 down the 10 freeway. I don't even know the golf course we're going to, where we're going. He has no phone. He has nothing. And I'm like, we're going to get pulled over. Like, what are we doing here? And then you just got to follow him. Like, you can't lose him or you're out, or you can't do that. And then I would say the other thing would probably be like sitting in a gas station at a Costco, listening to music on his laptop for an hour at a gas pump. And just like, what?
What are we doing?
Yeah, like sitting at a gas pump, like on his laptop talking stuff. Just crazy stuff.
He goes on these tangents, right? Like you might be talking about some specific about P 3.1, and then it's 3 hours of like,
yes,
why the paper is white.
you just sit there and you're like, what is going on? And then you get like a hotel room and that and this and what I just say, and he gives you the what I just say, what I just say, what I just say, everything he says. Repeat to me after what did I say? What did I say?
It's like in old school when Will Ferrell, goes up on the stage and
and then he'll hit balls. Like you'll see him hit balls on the range and it doesn't matter. He's going to get the sun. Wherever he's filming, the sun is going to be directly on it. So he'll rifle balls over like the first hole, over into the corner, over by there. And he does not care. Like if the sun is on, he wants it on his face, caddy view. It is here and he's on aiming into the wherever. It doesn't matter what's there.
Yeah, that's the thing. Mac is the devil is in the detail for sure with Mac. Even to where the sun is when he's teaching. And I mean, we all learned a lot from him. I think it's pretty. It'd be so awesome to have him on one of these things right now.
Oh, I would love it, but he the thing
he'd never do it.
But. Yeah, no, he would never do it. He's probably watching somehow, and he's probably in here in this account, and he's going to email me and be like, "I haven't spoken to you in 5 years, and you're out because you know John, and you're talking to him and me and this," and I'm like, and you teach on the. Okay.
It'll go down. It'll go down like that. Mike also asked, how much do you still use Mac alignments?
Mm-hmm.
And the difference between patterns, Max and Mac CP versus.
I would go more CF-ish, inline, online, like not cut pattern. I really don't give people the cut pattern at all. Just because it's not good with driver, I don't think. So
yeah.
I don't really give people the out steep left, but I use general stuff. I would say I use a lot of the patterns, but I don't have to have it the perfect breaking at PA, whatever. Like I like to bleed it in there and make it like a, like I talk to Robert Rock when he's out at tournaments and stuff, and he's teaching now, so we talk about it. But Robert Rock's kind of got that Mac look and the finish, but I don't really give people the overkill, perfect, all that stuff.
From 3 to 4, the Leaning Tower Pisa,
all that. Get the recocking. If you don't get this
Yeah.
right, burn the video.
We're done.
Yeah, you're out. You didn't. You lost your pressure points at 9, and you didn't keep your pressure points tight.
Anthem asks, would most amateurs be better off with a flat to slightly bowed trail wrist at P4?
I would say so. Yeah. In my opinion, yeah, definitely. Most people are too open. Yeah. Like most people get it this way and that. I would say yes. Yeah.
I'm 100% behind Drew on that. Paul Whalen asked, looking at tour swings, you rarely see a player with the club behind their hands at P2 or under their trail forearm between P3 and P4. When do you have to do a drill or fix? So I think he's asking like
radial.
When do you? Yeah.
I would say you just get them to learn a little bit of like not overkilling the takeaway, because a lot of guys take it. Like I worked with Ryan Moore back in the day, and he was how Ryan is, right? So he's that way. So with Ryan, when I was working with Ryan, he worked on getting a little less of that and turning more. Pat was the opposite. So Pat was, he was really in and around and rolled open. So gradually we kind of, I don't know, you have to be careful how much you do it. If it's really bad, you got to do it. But it changes where their face awareness is, I would say. Like they're going to kind of be like, where's the club? Like going from really vertical hinging to radial, that's a lot for some guys.
Yeah, it is. It is. Especially with the guys, I always felt like that got more radial, they get too much flex in their lead hand too early and stuff like that. And when you got them to go more radial, they're always afraid of like cupping it. Mm-hmm. You ever find that sort of like, like to your point of the face awareness, right? They're like, God, that feels wide open.
Yeah, if you get them like, this way, if you're kind of getting a lot of going like that, it's that I try to get them to just do waggles and get a little bit of a little more of the flexion of the elbow. So if I can learn, and my big thing with a lot of guys is learning to use the right wrist. Like if you learn the right wrist and not getting it this way, like getting the right wrist here, you feel it here, you're going to have a way better time coming down this way versus being like that.
Yes.
Because a lot of guys get it open. Like if you feel open and shallow, you're dead.
Yeah. You're just hitting big whiff cuts. That's all you're hitting there. I think that's something you talk about. Scott Cox talks a lot about that, about his number 5 accumulator of the right wrist loading, right, going into moving it into extension. Yep. It's big. It's really big. You guys should really be paying attention to that.
Well, that's the thing is like I'll grab a club and show you. Like I really like to get people like using feeling this way and getting, like a lot of people try to feel it in this wrist, and a lot of people aren't left-hand dominant that are righty. Yeah. So your dominant hand, you're going to feel more, so to speak, I would say. So I try to get a lot of different stuff with the feeling of like, okay, what hand's more that way?
Yeah. I like that a lot. So we'll take a couple more here so you can get out and go work on your your game. Anna Norquist says, how's your golf game, Drew?
We're on day 4, so we'll see. We're on day 4 of practice. 4 in 4 years, so we'll see how it is. And it's blowing 30, so hopefully it's blowing. We'll find a good spot on the range so I can cheat it with the wind, make it look better than it is.
See, you're just like Mac.
Yeah, just find the right wind and fight. I'm gonna get it down off the right, and I'll be gold.
You're gonna post all those?
Yep. That'll be my swing. Doesn't matter what it'll look pretty on video, but I'm gonna shoot 78 or 80, lose a couple balls or
whatever,
something.
man.
Yeah.
Whatever. So, I mean, dude, I can't thank you enough for coming on, Drew.
Thanks
I'm
for
a
having
huge fan of yours. I've been watching you from afar. I watch everything you do. You're sort of a role model for me of the teaching world, and you kind of take everything just, as is, and to be able to speak to you about, your process and your system. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show, dude.
Well, I appreciate having you. I'm glad you sent me a message, and I love it. It's good to get out and talk with people and, have an open mind with everybody. It's fun to bounce ideas and hear, like, you and what you do. And, you see some swing videos you do at home and drills.
Yeah.
And it's cool because, like, I watch it and I'm like, all right, that's cool. I like that drill. That's a great idea,
Well, I appreciate that, brother. I really do. Go post some videos tonight, dude. We want to go see it.
I might need another week. I'll give it like 2 weeks and then we'll go. I mean,
we want to see the progression, dude. We want to see the progression.
I should just go on Instagram. Well, I should have just done it on the range and had everybody comment on what to do. I should have just said, all right, I'm gonna do an Instagram live and all the teachers can come on and be like, all right, what do you think? And I'm gonna be like, okay, fix me, because I can't fix myself. So I'm gonna be like, I don't want to think. You tell me what to do.
Yeah, I'm the same way, dude. I'm like, don't make me think, dude. I have to think all the time, always. So just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
It's hard to do it yourself. Teaching
dude.
Yourself is impossible. You're sitting there looking at yourself and you're like, no.
A thousand things you see in there that you just hate, right? And you're like, be nice to yourself, because that's what you would be to your players.
Absolutely.
All right, Drew, if somebody wants to find you, where are you teaching at? Just kind of, I want you to give everybody, if whatever you want to give out, if they want to reach you or take lessons from you, what's a good deal? Reach you on Instagram? Or?
Yeah, Instagram works, or website is kind of where, I don't know. I get messages through it. Whenever I'm home, I teach people. I think that's the misconception. People think I don't teach people, other than tour players, and I'm like, I don't post people, but I do teach other people. Then I'm not just like tour coach or whatever, like I'm in Vegas, and whenever I'm home, I work with anybody in any level. It doesn't matter if you're a tour player.
No, we got timed out after an hour.
Oh, you timed out. Okay.
We get timed out. Instagram only lets you do an hour, so we were having too much fun. But
this is the first time I've ever done it. You're my first one, so you're the first Instagram I've ever done. There you go.
Right on, dude. That's cool.
Yep.
But like I said, I want people to know how to get a hold of you. You said that you don't only teach tour studs and studettes, but you also teach you teach the public. So how can they get a hold of you, Drew?
They can go either Instagram, send me a message, or website. I mean, I get those messages too. And then anytime. If my schedule's open and I'm home, I definitely will teach anybody. And then I also teach on the Skillest app, so people send online lessons, and I've been doing that the last couple weeks, which is cool. So people send videos and I send them back, and I definitely like to. It keeps me stimulated. People have this misconception, like, well, you only teach tour guys. No, I don't at all. That's not, at all my
You just
MO.
like teaching, dude. You like, your MO is to help people no matter what.
I like the challenge. It's like you know, you get somebody and you're like, I want to just help you. Like, you just want to make them better.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, speaking of that, what you were talking about you getting tips.
I need everybody on here. I need all these teachers. I want all you guys. I'm going to start that trend. Everybody coach each other.
We were doing that on Leary. So what we have is we'll have if you have a net or somewhere you can hit, and I'm going to do a video of how to make like nets. Yeah. Dude, we have so many coaches that come in like yourself and Bobby Laskin. And
I love hearing everybody. Yeah, those guys
Yeah, dude. Yep. Yeah, we do that, and it's just fun. And what we do is I'll patch in Scott Calks, right? While you're hitting balls. And then hey, what do we let's group this thing. All right. Then we'll get the student back in. We've been doing that. It's been a lot of fun.
I'll be on the range this week, and I'm going to sit here and be like, all right, let's do a live. Get all these teachers. Let's go.
Let's do it, dude. Let's do it,
just sit there and be like, all right, why is my driver flying like this right now, guys? Please do something for me.
Let's do it, man. I love it. Hey, if you guys love this video as much as I did with Drew here, all this stuff is going to be on JRL Golf Academy on YouTube. and we can listen to the nuggets that Drew's dropped here for all of us. So, Drew, go hit some balls this afternoon. Go get it dialed in. And I can't thank you enough, pal, and I'll talk to you soon.
Well, thank you for doing the junior tour too. I heard good things about it, and that's awesome that you're helping a lot of those juniors in Southern California, and you're bringing up a good group of guys out there, and that's going to be fun to watch these kids.
I appreciate it, man. That's our future.
It's exciting. All right, cool. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Drew. Have a great afternoon, dude.
See ya. You too.
See you,
All
buddy.
right,
Bye.
see ya. Bye.
Thanks for watching, everybody, the JRL Golf Academy. Please make sure to link and comment down below. Make sure you subscribe and turn on that little bell for notifications. And we look forward to seeing you on the next JRL Golf Academy.